What do those familiar Hollywood faces do in the shadows? Although the debate over the saints and devils of Hollywood is never ending, these are some of the ones currently facing lawful consequences for their daring behaviors. Number 14. Michael Jace. Our first guy is Michael Jace. He was an actor best known for his role as Officer Julian Lowe on the TV series The Shield. However, currently he is serving a prison sentence of 40 years to life for the murder of his wife, April Jace, in 2014. On May 19, 2014, Jace shot April in their Los Angeles home, fatally wounding her in front of their 2 young children. The tragic incident stemmed from domestic abuse. Jace was reportedly angry about April's plans to file for divorce, and he suspected her of infidelity. During the trial, it was revealed that Jace shot his wife 3 times, once in the back and twice in the legs. He called 911 after the shooting and confessed to killing her. His defense claimed that he only intended to shoot her in the legs, but the jury convicted him of second-degree murder. In 2016, Jace was sentenced to 40 years to life in prison. The murder was a shocking event, given Jace's public persona as a family man and actor playing a police officer on television. Jace apologized to April's family during his sentencing, but stated that he did not premeditate the act. Still, justice should befall him, huh? Number 13. Shannon Richardson. This is Shannon Richardson, a former actress with small roles in shows like The Walking Dead and The Vampire Diaries. She might be more familiar to you because she is serving an 18-year prison sentence for sending rice-and-laced letters to prominent figures, including President Barack Obama and New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg in 2013. She attempted to frame her estranged husband for these crimes. Richardson's motivation for the crime stemmed from personal issues, including her troubled relationship with her husband, Nathan Richardson, who was seeking a divorce. During this period, she ordered materials to create ricin, a deadly biological toxin, and mailed the poison letters. The letters contained threatening language and were intercepted before reaching their targets. In an attempt to divert suspicion, Richardson initially contacted the FBI, accusing her husband of the crime. However, an investigation revealed that she was responsible, as internet searches related to ricin production were conducted while her husband was at work. After her arrest in June 2013, she confessed to the crime, and in 2014, she pleaded guilty to charges of manufacturing and possessing the biological weapon. Along with her prison sentence, Richardson was ordered to pay over $367,000 in restitution. She gave birth to her 6th child while in custody, and the child was later placed in her husband's care. Her release is projected for 2028, and she remains incarcerated at a federal prison in Texas. Number 12. Joseph Sun. Have you watched 1997's Austin Powers International Man of Mystery? You might have recognized Joseph Sun. He was a former actor and mixed martial artist and is serving a life sentence for a series of unspeakable crimes. As you may already be aware, his role as Random Tax, a parody of Odd Job from the Austin Powers movie, gave him a shot at acting. However, his criminal actions overshadowed his brief acting career. You see, in 1990, Sun and an accomplice, Santiago Gaitan, abducted a 19-year-old woman, subjecting her to a gang rape, torture, and threats of death on Christmas Eve. Although the victim reported the crime, the case went cold due to a lack of DNA evidence at the time. In 2008, Sun was arrested for an unrelated vandalism charge, which required him to submit a DNA sample. This DNA linked him to the 1990 assault, and he was charged with several counts of sexual assault, though many of these charges had expired due to the statute of limitations. Instead, he was convicted of torture and sentenced to life in prison in 2011. While serving his sentence, Sun was involved in another violent incident. In October 2011, he killed his cellmate, Michael Graham, who was imprisoned for failing to register as a sex offender. Sun was charged with manslaughter for the extreme beating, which resulted in Graham's death from blunt force trauma. In 2017, he was convicted of voluntary manslaughter and sentenced to an additional 27 years. These combined convictions have ensured that Joseph Sun will spend the rest of his life in prison, where his violent tendencies continue to be a concern for the authorities. Number 1. Amy Locane. Famous for her roles in Melrose Place and Crybaby, Amy Locane is our next actress of interest. She is currently in prison due to her involvement in a fatal drunk driving incident that took place in 2010. On the night of the crash, Locane, driving under the influence with a blood alcohol level nearly 3 times the legal limit, collided with a vehicle in New Jersey, killing 60-year-old Helene Seaman and severely injuring Seaman's husband, Fred, who was turning into their driveway at the time. Despite initially serving 2.5 years of a 3-year sentence for vehicular homicide and assault by auto in 2013, her case has been unusually complex. Over the years, Locane was resentenced multiple times due to ongoing legal disputes. The primary issue revolved around whether her initial sentences were too lenient under New Jersey's sentencing guidelines. The appeals courts argued that original sentences didn't fully meet minimum standards, leading to her being resentenced to longer terms in prison. In 2020, after several rounds of appeals, she was given an 8-year prison sentence. This ongoing legal battle has been emotionally taxing for Locane and her family, particularly because she had been out of prison for several years, completed parole, and worked on alcohol abuse prevention efforts before being ordered back to prison. As of now, her parole eligibility is set for late 2024. Number 10. Zach Avery. Zach Avery, born Zachary Horwitz, is a Hollywood actor who is currently serving a 20-year prison sentence for his role in a massive Ponzi scheme. Not so twisted as his previous ones, right? Between 2014 and 2019, Avery defrauded investors of at least $650 million by convincing them that they were investing in film distribution rights through his company, 1NMM Capital. He claimed that he had lucrative deals to sell movie rights to streaming platforms like HBO and Netflix, but these deals were completely fabricated. Avery lured more than 250 investors, many of whom were his close friends, with promises of high returns. Instead of acquiring film rights, he used new investments to pay off earlier investors and funded his own lavish lifestyle, which included a $6 million mansion and luxury items. The scheme collapsed when he was unable to make repayments, leading investors to alert federal authorities. Avery was arrested in 2021 and pleaded guilty to securities fraud later that year. In addition to his prison sentence, he was ordered to pay over $230 million in restitution. Avery's acting career, which never gained significant traction, included roles in small films like Last Moment of Clarity and The Devil Below, as well as an uncredited role in Fury. Number 9. Will Hayden. Will Hayden, a former reality TV star known for the Discovery Channel show Sons of Guns, is serving multiple life sentences for the rape of 2 young girls. His crimes span decades, with incidents occurring both in the early 1990s and again in 2013 to 14. Hayden was convicted in 2017 on charges of aggravated rape and forcible rape. The first victim, now in her 30s, testified that Hayden raped her when she was 12 to 13 years old, back in the 1990s. The second victim, who was 11 at the time of the abuse in 2014, was repeatedly assaulted over a prolonged period. This victim's mother had once been romantically involved with Hayden, which he initially claimed was the source of the accusations. However, the court found him guilty after hearing testimonies from both victims. Additionally, Hayden had faced multiple accusations from his eldest daughter, Stephanie, who revealed that he had molested her when she was younger. These allegations contributed to further charges of aggravated incest. The combination of these crimes led to a sentence of 2 life terms plus 40 years without the possibility of parole, probation, or suspension. The Sons of Guns series was cancelled in 2014 after Hayden's arrest became public. His business, Red Jacket Firearms, distanced itself from him following the allegations. Number 8. Josh Duggar. Now we are going to talk about Josh Duggar, who was once a reality television star known for his role in the TLC series 19 Kids and Counting, and its spin-off, Counting On, found himself at the center of a significant scandal that led to his imprisonment. Maybe you might have guessed it, but it's worse than you thought. How? The truth is that in 2015, Duggar admitted to being addicted to pornography and having affairs. However, the most serious allegations against him surfaced in 2021. He was arrested on federal charges of receiving and possessing child pornography. The indictment alleged that Duggar knowingly received pornographic images of children who were under 12 years old. After a trial in late 2021, a jury found him guilty on 2 counts of knowingly receiving and possessing child sexual abuse material. In May 2022, Duggar was sentenced to over 12 years in federal prison and was ordered to pay fines and special assessments. His legal team later appealed his conviction, but the appeal was ultimately rejected in late 2023. The scandal and subsequent conviction had a profound impact on Duggar's family and the broader community. His wife, Anna Duggar, stood by him during the ordeal, but the family faced significant public scrutiny and criticism. The scandal also led to the cancellation of the Counting On television series. Number 7. Jared Fogle. Familiar with Subway? This next guy was like a former spokesperson for Subway and an actor who appeared in movies like Sharknado 2, the second one, 2014, and others. This is Jared Fogle. His worst movie was like his own life. He is in prison for child sex crimes and possession of child pornography. His downfall began in 2015 when his close associate, Russell Taylor, was arrested for distributing child pornography. Investigations revealed that Taylor had shared explicit material with Fogle, leading authorities to uncover Fogle's involvement in receiving and distributing child pornography, as well as paying for sex with minors. Fogle pleaded guilty to these charges, admitting to viewing illicit content and engaging in sexual acts with underage girls. He was sentenced to 15 years and 8 months in federal prison in 2015. Along with his prison sentence, Jared Fogle agreed to pay $1.4 million in restitution, distributing $100,000 to each of his 14 victims to assist with counseling and other costs. Following his release, Fogle will face lifetime supervised release with strict monitoring conditions. His attorneys had initially sought a more lenient sentence of 5 years, citing Fogle's remorse and his efforts to take responsibility for his actions, but the court rejected this request. The judge imposed a 15.6-year sentence, exceeding even the prosecution's recommended 12.5 years due to the gravity of his offenses. Number 6. Skylar DeLeon. Up next is Skylar DeLeon, a former child actor who appeared in a small role on Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and is currently on death row after being convicted of 3 murders. The most infamous of these 3 is the killing of Tom and Jackie Hawks, a retired couple who were selling their yacht in 2004. DeLeon posed as a buyer and, along with 2 accomplices, forced the couple to sign over the yacht's ownership. He then handcuffed the Hawks to an anchor and threw them overboard alive. their bodies were never recovered. In addition to the Hawks' murders, Dillian was also convicted of killing John Jarvie, a fellow inmate from whom he had scammed $50,000 in 2003. Dillian slit Jarvie's throat and left his body on a roadside in Mexico. Dillian's motives were largely financial, as he and his then-wife, Jennifer Dillian, struggled with money. Jennifer played a role in the plot. Although she wasn't physically present during the murders, she was sentenced to life in prison. Skylar Dillian's trial drew significant media attention due to the extremity of the crimes and his past as a TV actor. He was sentenced to death in 2009 and is currently incarcerated at a San Quentin state prison. Number 5. Danny Masterson. Perhaps you might recall watching That 70s Show, but nostalgia may hurt when you hear that Danny Masterson, who played Stephen Hyde, was sentenced in September 2023 to 30 years to life in prison after being convicted of raping 2 women. If you didn't know already, let's just give the specifics surrounding his case. You see, these said incidents occurred in the early 2000s at his home in Hollywood Hills. A jury found him guilty of 2 counts of forcible rape during a retrial, though a third charge related to another victim was declared a mistrial due to a lack of unanimous verdict. The women who testified against him were former members of the Church of the Scientology, as is Masterson. The church played a significant role in the trial, with allegations that it had discouraged the victims from reporting the assaults to authorities. The victims stated that when they approached church officials, they were told the incidents were not rape and were pressured into staying silent. The prosecution argued that Masterson used his high standing within Scientology to avoid accountability for many years. However, the church had denied these claims, stating that there is no policy preventing members from going to law enforcement. Masterson has maintained his innocence throughout, but did not testify during the trial, and his defense argued that the sexual encounters were consensual. Nonetheless, the judge emphasized the gravity of his actions, stating that Masterson had taken away the victims' autonomy and their rights to choose. Masterson is eligible for parole after serving 30 years. Number 4. Joe Exotic. Joe Exotic, whose real name is Joseph Maldonado Passage, gained worldwide fame through the Netflix series Tiger King. He is currently serving a 21-year prison sentence following a conviction for several serious crimes. The most high-profile charge against Joe Exotic is related to a murder-for-hire plot. He was found guilty of hiring a hitman to kill Carole Baskin, an animal rights activist and his longtime rival. Baskin, who owns a sanctuary for big cats, had been critical of Exotic's zoo operations and had secured a significant legal judgment against him, which intensified their feud. In 2017, Exotic attempted to pay $3,000 to an individual to travel to Florida and murder Baskin. Unfortunately for him, that person turned out to be working with the FBI, leading to Exotic's arrest and conviction. In addition to the murder-for-hire charges, Exotic was convicted of multiple counts of violating wildlife laws. These included the illegal sale and transport of endangered species such as tigers, as well as the unlawful killing of 5 tigers at a zoo in Oklahoma. He was also found guilty of falsifying documents regarding the sale of these animals in violation of the Lacey Act. Despite being imprisoned, Joe Exotic has remained in the public eye. He has attempted to run for president in the 2024 election and continues to voice his opinions from prison. Number 3. Ryan Grantham. Known for his roles in Riverdale and Diary of a Wimpy Kid, the Canadian child actor Ryan Grantham was sentenced to life in prison in 2022 for the murder of his mother, Barbara White. In March 2020, Grantham shot his mother in the back of the head while she was playing the piano at their home in British Columbia. He had planned and rehearsed the murder, even recording video footage of himself confessing to the crime and showing his mother's body after the shooting. So, what was his motive? Well, it was deeply tied to his mental health struggles. Reports revealed that he had been suffering from severe depression, suicidal ideation, and homicidal thoughts in the months leading up to the murder. After killing his mother, Grantham packed his car with weapons, ammunition, and Molotov cocktails, intending to drive to Ottawa and assassinate Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. However, he abandoned this plan and turned himself in to the police. During his trial, psychiatric evaluations indicated that Grantham's deteriorating mental state played a significant role in the crime. His mother had been battling cancer, and Grantham reportedly claimed that he wanted to spare her from witnessing the violence he planned to commit, both against himself and others. The court handed Grantham a life sentence with eligibility for parole after 14 years. His case highlighted his struggles with mental health, and he has since been receiving psychiatric care while in prison. Number 2. Colin Walker. Remember Juju from the 2018 series Superfly? It was the actor and rapper Colin Walker behind this role. His life is currently far from any fiction you can think of. Back in October 2022, he was sentenced to 50 years to life in prison after being convicted of multiple sexual assaults. His crimes spanned from 2013 to 2018, during which he used social media platforms, primarily Instagram and Twitter, to lure aspiring models and young women under the guise of offering them career opportunities. Once he had gained their trust, he sexually assaulted them in isolated settings. Walker was convicted of multiple counts, including 3 counts of forcible rape, 2 counts of statutory rape, and 2 counts of rape of intoxicated victims. His victims included 4 adult women and 3 teenage girls, with some as young as 16 at the time of their assaults. Despite his conviction, Walker continues to maintain his innocence, and his legal team plans to appeal, arguing that some of the allegations were motivated by revenge. Walker's predatory behavior was particularly noted in court, with the prosecution emphasizing how he exploited his minor celebrity status to deceive and victimize women. Though some charges were dismissed, the conviction on the remaining charges resulted in a lengthy prison sentence for raping multiple women and teenage girls. Walker's victims, many of whom were aspiring models, were targeted through social media. He promised them professional opportunities, such as music video shoots or introduction to influential figures, only to assault them when they were alone. Number 1. Drew Drechsel. And finally, we have Drew Drechsel, the Season 11 champion of American Ninja Warrior, who is currently serving a 10-year prison sentence after pleading guilty to child sex crimes. In 2020, he was arrested and charged with serious federal offenses, including child pornography and the enticement of a minor to cross state lines for illegal sexual conduct. Drechel's crimes stem from a relationship he developed with a teenage girl whom he met in 2014 during an American Ninja Warrior event when she was just 14 years old. The victim later reported that their sexual relationship began when she was around 15 and continued for several years. Law enforcement discovered explicit images and videos of the underage victim on Drechel's phone, which were taken during the time of their relationship. In 2015, Drechsel, then in his mid-20s, encouraged the victim to travel across state lines to engage in sexual activities with him, which led to the federal charges. Drechsel initially planned to plead not guilty, but later changed his plea to guilty in June 2023. Along with his 121-month prison sentence, he was ordered to pay $100,000 in restitution to the victim and will be subject to 15 years of supervised release after his prison term. Much needed, isn't it? Following his arrest, NBC and the American Ninja Warrior franchise severed all ties with Drechsel, scrubbing his Season 11 victory from their records. Didn't they have it coming? Comment down your thoughts and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more celebrity content. Thanks for watching. With another gripping video, we'll catch you soon.